Hi Gaon, I am Jacaro Toro, and on this channel I focus on Australian Aboriginal languages. And this video is part of a series where I look at verbs. And so far in the series we have been here. And this is where we will be today too. You see, at this point I thought it might be interesting to compare McGregor's scheme of things, which is what I have been going through in this series, as he explains it in this book, Verb Classification in Australian Languages from 2002. Compare to what Dixon writes in his book that is also from 2002. Dixon is Professor R M W Dixon, and you see Dixon has written two books that for a long time have been the go-to books, so to speak, for people wanting general information about Australian Aboriginal languages. The first one came in 1980 and was called The Languages of Australia. And this then is the second one, Australian Languages. So let's see what Dixon writes about verbs in the 2002 book, shall we? I have here a few pages from that book that I copied at some point in time. By the way, Dixon describes and writes about simple verbs and co-verbs. That's the terminology he uses. So verb roots standing on their own, occurring on their own, with tense aspect mood marking in a clause, they are also simple verbs. And these ones, let's see here, have to go in that direction, are simple verbs in his terminology. So in some languages almost all clauses involve just a simple verb. Yes, that is correct. Let's see here on the next page. Sometimes the simple verb states a generic meaning. He is now writing about the complex verb construction. Sometimes the simple verb states a generic meaning, with the co-verb providing further specification of this. Sometimes the co-verb appears to provide all the meaning, with the simple verb being effectively a dummy to carry verbal suffixes. Other times the complex verb has an idiosyncratic meaning, which cannot be related to the meaning of either component in other combinations. No, not good enough, not well researched enough. You see, what is very often the case is that the meaning of the uninflecting verb is unclear on its own. And as I have shown in previous videos, what we do find in languages in northern and northwestern Australia is the type of verb classification that McGregor describes, where different types of verbs are placed in different verbal categories. So this is not good enough. Dixon isn't in this area. And when I come to verb conjugations, I will have reason to critique Dixon there too, both his 1980 book and his 2002 book, because you see, when it comes to conjugations, he writes pretty much the same thing in both books. McGregor has in his book a chapter where he speculates about how this complex verb construction could have developed. And that chapter, I feel, is not well thought through, not researched enough, because he bases his line of reasoning there on the situation found in three languages, three non-Pama-Nyungan languages found in northernmost Western Australia. And he writes that in those languages, most uninflecting verbs seem to be monosyllabic and to include unusual sound combinations. So sound combinations that are unusual for those languages. And he therefore speculates that these uninflecting verbs could have come from idiophones, many of which were originally onomatopoeic. So onomatopoeic words are words that imitate sounds. Well, this may well be the case in those languages. But I have looked at Ngara and Nyangomara, two neighboring but not closely related Pama-Nyungan languages. In Ngara, it so happens that I know about around 400 uninflecting verbs. And only these two are monosyllabic, we and wing. So 2 out of 400, that's 0.5%. In both Ngara and Nyangomara, uninflecting verbs are usually have between 2 and 4 syllables. 4 syllables, could that be described as a quadrasyllabic uninflecting verb? I'm not sure. Sounds good to me. Anyway, these two here are Ngara examples too, and we find 4 syllables in both of these uninflecting verbs. So here we have ngampurjali. So ngampurjali. And here we have a reduplicated uninflecting verb, yangar, yangar. Yes, and as I said, the same seems to be true for Nyangomara. There are at times some unusual sound combinations that are found in uninflecting verbs in these languages too. But this area, the area of uninflecting verbs, seems to be one that needs to be researched further. Yes, I leave you with that thought for today. So, see you later.